This is Joe Biden, the resident of the United States. Biden has been keeping a low profile since being forced out of the 2024 race by his own political party. But recently, he came out of hiding to do an interview with CBS Sunday Morning.
Are you confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power in January 2025?
If Trump wins, no, I'm not confident at all.
So if Trump wins, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris aren't going to leave the White House. Got it.
I mean, if Trump loses, I'm not confident at all.
Oh.
Look what they're trying to do now in the local election districts where people count the votes. They're putting people in place in states that they're going to count the votes, right?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
He means what he says. We don't take him seriously. He means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there'll be a bloodbath.
Oh, the bloodbath hoax, which I'll get to in a little bit. But in the meantime, Joe Biden is going to talk about Trump being a threat to democracy or whatever, because what else is Biden going to talk about? His policy successes? Yeah, good luck with that. But when it comes to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrats writ large, lying about Trump is all they have. Take, for example, this Joe Biden campaign ad, which aired on Black entertainment television of all places, right before Joe Biden dropped out of the race.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Of course I hate these people.
Donald Trump disrespecting black folk is nothing new. He was sued for refusing to rent his apartments to black families and called for the execution of 5 innocent black and brown teenagers.
And it's more than anger, it's hatred.
It's why Trump stood with violent white supremacists, warned of a bloodbath if he loses the next election, and if he's president again, vowed to be a dictator who wants revenge on his enemies. Now, who do you think that is?
Of course I hate these people.
Democrats are so desperate to hang on to black voters that they put out the most racially incendiary political ad that's ever been created. And while this technically is a Joe Biden ad and he's no longer a candidate, you can be sure that the content of this ad is going to be repurposed in the near future by cackling Kamala and tampon Tim. So let's get ahead of that effort and fact check this garbage.
Donald Trump disrespecting black folk is nothing new. He was sued for refusing to rent his apartments to black families.
So for clarity, in 1973, the Trump Management Corporation was sued by the federal government for allegedly discriminating against black renters. At the time, Donald Trump responded to the charges and told reporters, "They are absolutely ridiculous. We have never discriminated and we never would. There have been a number of local actions against us and we've won them all. We were charged with discrimination, and we proved in court that we did not discriminate." 2 years later, in 1975, Trump management and the Justice Department reached a settlement. Probably not a super strong case, right? If they were allowed to settle. But anyway, Trump noted that its agreement with the government did not constitute an admission of the charges that Trump management violated federal law. In other words, Trump was never found guilty of discriminating against black families, which means that the graphic is a lie, and I hope that Trump sues everyone involved in its creation.
And called for the execution of 5 innocent black and brown teenagers.
And it's more than anger, it's hatred.
So what the ad is referring to is the Central Park jogger case, where in April 1989, a 28-year-old woman out for a run was violently assaulted, raped, tied and gagged, and left for dead in a shallow ravine. She was so badly injured that she lost 75 to 80% of her blood and was in a coma for 12 days. Each member of the so-called Central Park Five initially confessed, and afterwards, while in their holding cell, reportedly joked about it. One of the 5, Yusef Salam, claimed that he struck the jogger with a pipe because it was fun. He's a New York City Council member now, so that's cool. After the confessions, the New York Daily News asked people on the street if the Central Park attackers could be tried as adults. Should they be sentenced as adults if found guilty? The unanimous opinion was yes. And I know that liberals want to retcon all of this, but in 1989, New York City was experiencing the highest crime rate in its history. And everyone was sick of it, including Donald J. Trump. So on May 1st, 1989, just 10 days after the attack, Donald Trump put out a full-page ad in several New York City newspapers with the headline, "Bring back the death penalty, bring back our police." The ad was an overall response to the rising crime rate, and despite the fact that anyone can find it online and see exactly what it says, Democrats think that you're too stupid to read it for yourself.
And called for the execution of 5 innocent black and brown teenagers.
This is a lie. The ad never mentioned the Central Park 5, but it did say the following about the death penalty. "I want to hate these muggers and murderers. They should be forced to suffer, and when they kill, they should be executed for their crimes. They must serve as examples so that others will think long and hard before committing a crime or an act of violence. Send a message loud and clear to those who would murder our citizens and terrorize New York. Bring back the death penalty and bring back our police." Again, the ad never explicitly called for the death penalty for the 5 defendants, and yet Democrats and social media activists and much of the media and even members of the Central Park 5 themselves claim that Trump did. They are lying, and they all need to be called out for it.
It's why Trump stood with violent white supremacists.
Another disgusting Democrat lie. Trump never stood with white supremacists. This has been thoroughly debunked.
Excuse me, I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups. The neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, they should be condemned totally.
So you can stand with someone while at the same time condemning them? Makes sense to me. What's your problem?
Warned of a bloodbath if he loses the next election.
This is deceptive and misleading. Trump was warning of an economic bloodbath. If China is allowed to sell their cheap electric vehicles here in the United States, it would be a bloodbath for the auto industry and the US economy.
Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Again, the Democrats are lying to you. Do you think that showing a pouring blood graphic and lying about what Trump said is in any way lowering the temperature?
And if he's president again, vowed to be a dictator who wants revenge on his enemies.
No. No, he hasn't.
The media has been focused on this and attacking you. Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
what?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill.
That's not retribution.
I love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
So that sounds to me like you're going back to the policies when you were president. All right.
So yes, Trump was making a joke, which proves that the Democrats, A, have absolutely no sense of humor, and B, are liars who will always twist Trump's words to fit their orange man bad narrative. And for additional clarity, here is Dr. Phil asking Trump about the whole retribution and revenge accusation in a serious manner.
There are headlines out there that say, when you win your second term, that you are going to make the people that have come after you pay. Retribution and revenge.
You know, the word revenge is a very strong word, but maybe we have revenge through success. But that's what I'd like to see. I want to see the country survive.
That's a very reasonable answer, right? Kind of disproves the whole Trump will be a dictator thing, but Democrats can't stop, won't stop.
And if he's president again, vowed to be a dictator who wants revenge on his enemies. Now, who do you think that is?
I have never in my life seen a political ad so inflammatory. The Democrats want you to believe that Donald Trump hates black people and means that if you're black, you're his enemy and he's coming after you, circled in red, approved by Joe Biden.
Of course I hate these people.
And that line, which appeared twice in the ad, is supposed to be Trump talking about the Central Park Five. However, that's not even who he's talking about. Here's the full clip.
I had a case the other day. I went to a hospital in Brooklyn. A woman was raped, mugged, and thrown off a 4-story building, okay? And a reporter asked me whether or not I had any compassion or feeling for the people that did it. Do I have hatred for them? And I said, look, this woman was raped, mugged, and thrown off a building. Thrown off a building on top of everything else. She's virtually, she's got some major problems, to put it mildly. I said, of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need if we're going to get something done. It's incredible when a reporter asks me whether or not I have compassion for the people that did this crime. I have absolutely no compassion.
Clearly, Trump was not talking about the Central Park jogger case. Trump was referring to a horrific incident that happened in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, where a woman was raped by 3 men at knife point and thrown off a roof. I think that most human beings, including Trump, have the right to say that they hate anyone who would commit such heinous acts. And I think it's important to replay the following.
I went to a hospital in Brooklyn. A woman was raped, mugged, and thrown off a 4-story building.
Yes, Donald Trump not only went to the hospital to visit the victim, who was black by the way, but he also agreed to pay her medical bills. Because Donald Trump disrespects black folk or whatever. Just remember, folks, Democrats will always attempt to cover up their racist history and their racist policies by claiming, but actually, it's Trump and the Republicans who are the racists. It's called projection, folks, and it always needs to be called out. Anyway, that's it for now. Follow me on X at Don't Walk Run, and while you're at it, please subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time, if there is next time.